Well, today I'd like to welcome Dom Hardeman to the show, the probation manager at Pierce County District Court, who is one of the recipients of the 2024 Innovating Justice Awards. Welcome to the show, Dom. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course. And just for a brief background, the Innovating Justice Award is given out by the Board for Judicial Administration. It recognizes an individual or group for providing exceptional leadership in helping courts across Washington state deliver innovative and responsive justice using a race equity lens. And Dom was awarded for his leadership in the creation of the Pierce County Pathway to Progress program. So just diving right in, Dom, do you mind telling us a little bit about the Pathway to Progress program in Pierce County and what it is and what your role is?
Yeah, the Pathways to Progress program used to be called pretrial pathways. We focused on transitioning individuals out of custody from the jail, from the local jail. The program was designed to provide just that reentry services for individuals transitioning out of jail. Believe it or not, you're actually in a better position to transition out of prison than you are a local jail. I hate to say that, but it's true. So just real quickly, with prisons, you have a classification counselor that's going to work with you on your transition, and then you're going to have a release plan. You're also going to have programs while you're in prison. Well, most of your local jails do not have classification counselors. You don't have a counselor that's assigned to you that's going to work with you to transition you out. And so it can be difficult trying to navigate and rebuilding your life without somebody, providing some guidance, especially if you're new to, navigating resources in the community. So the Pathways program was first, the funding for the program came about through the county council who had some ARPA funds, and they wanted to improve some of the outcomes for individuals that are releasing from our local jail, from the Pierce County Jail. So didn't have any program in mind. I over the years that I've worked here in Pierce County, I know that there are some gaps for folks, gaps in services for folks that are leaving jail. So when this opportunity came about, I asked the court if I could get the opportunity to work with some of our partners. We have a pretty good relationship here in Pierce County. If I could get together with some of my partners and put together this program. And so we came up with this pretrial pathways program, again, really meant to transition folks from custody back into the community. So if you've been arrested, you've lost your housing, you've lost your employment, you lost your financial support, maybe even connections to family, we want to help you rebuild those things. And so the Pathways program was designed to help individuals with that. So the program provides employment opportunities, it provides behavioral health connections, whether that's mental health or SUD, substance use disorder assistance, and then there's some housing assistance, as well as some of those little things that occur in a person's life that you really don't think about, like I need to get my license back, my driver's license back, in order to drive to get a job that requires me to have a driver's license. So a lot of the little things that most people will take for granted, the program was designed to assist with that.
Yeah, that's so important, helping people get their life on track, right? So one thing is, it's an Innovating Justice Award. What did this really? Was there anything before the Pathway to Progress program that this took the place of, or how did this innovate justice in Pierce County?
So no, there isn't anything like this. I haven't seen anything like this in the state. There are programs within our jail. There's some great programs within our jail. There is our uh, jail transition team. They do a great job of working with individuals who have mental health issues, transitioning out of the jail. Specifically, though, you have to have a mental health disorder. And so they provide a great service, but there's a limited number of staff members. When I first started with the county, I worked in the behavioral health unit. And so everybody that I had on my caseload had a mental health disorder. So I worked with that team on a daily basis. I could have taken all of their time, but of course, I'm not the only one that needed that assistance. There are other courts. There's 3 courts in this building, and so there was a lot of demand for that service. And so a lot of times, a lot of folks that even have mental health are not being able to be reached through that program. And then even with that program, again, there are still gaps in assistance in the county. And so, in designing this program, we really wanted to figure out why are some folks falling through these gaps in reentry, and how can we plug some of those gaps? And so, this program was designed for that. So, like I said, there's the jail transition team that helps folks with mental health, but there isn't any, if you have an SUD, a drug and alcohol issue, there isn't anybody specifically working with you to transition you out. If I just have employment needs, there isn't anybody. I need rapid employment. I need to get back. I need to get employed. I have a car note to pay. I have a house payment. There isn't anything available where somebody can get me connected back to rapid employment. So this program provides that, as well as the rapid housing or bridge housing, which is huge. Bridge housing is huge when you can provide for an example, an individual that has a no contact order at a residence, and they cannot go back to that home. You don't want to just have that person released to the streets, especially if they have significant needs. You want to have some type of bridge housing where they can be in a safe place and receive services and start to rebuild their lives. So short-term housing, quick short-term housing until longer-term housing can be developed. And so this program assists with that.
And that's an impressive scope, helping in all sorts of areas: housing, employment, substance use orders. Would you tell me a little bit about the partnerships formed within the program that enables all of this?
Yeah, so exactly. So I think I get way too much credit for this, but this was really put together by a team of partners that we have established. I think our court has a really good reputation throughout the county of being good partners, of really trying to advocate and really trying to help people get to a better place. And so our partners in putting this program together, the first two agencies I contacted were Vallejo. They do the vocational employment training, and Pierce County Alliance, long established drug and alcohol behavioral health agency that's provided services to the county for years and years. They work with our Superior Court here. They work with Tacoma Municipal Court, and they've worked with our district court. So I reached out to those two partners along with Comprehensive Life Resources and Goodwill, and said, I just explained, hey, we've got this county council. Our county council is looking at seeing if we can improve some of the outcomes for folks. And we worked on this for quite a bit of times, really just trying to think about where are all the gaps, where are people falling through the gaps, how can we impact as many people as possible. And so this is the program that we came up with.
Yeah, and it's, from what I've heard, it's helped a lot of people so far, and it still is today. Do you have any statistics to share about how many people have been through the program?
We've had over 350 referrals. We have at least 47 individuals that have moved from subsidized employment to unsubsidized employment, so gainful employment, including individuals that are now employed with government agencies, and including our own county. Just a few weeks ago, I walked in with an individual who went through our employment program, and she is now a coworker. I call her a coworker. She's now a county employee.
That's
That is just
fantastic.
that is man, I can't even tell you how exciting that is to see an individual go from, I'm just as involved to now I'm a coworker. I'm a county employee. It's just one of the high points in my career.
Yeah, and you sort of went there with one who, going from justice involved individual to a coworker. That's such a great story. Are there any other stories or
Well,
anecdotes you'd
yeah,
like to share from?
she's just one of them.
Yeah.
We have a number. We actually had four individuals who were offered jobs with government. Most recently, we have a relationship with Kroger. They will be hiring soon, and so everything we do in this program is meant for a bigger picture. So the participants that are in our work crew who participate in that program, they're learning hard and soft skills. So we're getting that group specifically prepared for either government employment or employment with some of our partners through Goodwill. Goodwill has a great partnership with a number of employers. And so we want folks to transition into positions that provide them with gainful employment. So having that population of 47, I mentioned individuals go on to gainful employment with folks getting jobs down at the Seattle docks, working with flooring companies, just a variety of jobs. Not to mention, we get individuals who are, because this is a voluntary program. So this is not a court ordered program. So this is a voluntary program, getting individuals to opt into behavioral health programs. So voluntarily, anytime you can get someone to voluntarily opt into a program, that's a huge win.
Yeah.
So we may have individuals that opt into our employment program and come to find out that they've got some behavioral health needs, maybe some drug and alcohol needs that they need to address. So we don't kick you out of that employment program. We allow you to attend your classes, address those needs. We can still have you employed, but we want you to focus on this component because we don't want you to jeopardize your employability. So work on this need. We're going to give you that allowance, and then we're going to have you come back into the program. So we've had that. We've had where individuals have tried the employment component, realized, you know what, I'm not going to be able to manage this, and will voluntarily opt into the behavioral health component. So voluntarily opting into drug and alcohol treatment, or voluntarily opting into mental health treatment. That's a huge win when you can get someone to make that realization on their own.
Yeah, that's massive. You need people to take the steps themselves, and that's really what this program seems like it's all about. So the Innovating Justice Awards, one of the criteria is for those who go above and beyond in their court leadership, not just happy with doing just their job, doing more than that. And from the nomination form, this is from the Pierce County District Court Administrator, Misty Robeson. This is how she described you. Dom is an individual who is not satisfied with the status quo. He is always searching for ways to improve the effectiveness of probation and its impact on the lives of court-involved individuals. He takes his responsibility seriously and does not shy away from working hard and taking risks. His impact on Pierce County District Court probation and the community they serve has been transformative. He is a leader in his field and should be recognized for his tireless efforts and contributions. Everything he touches is better with his involvement. So,
Wow,
yeah, that is a glowing review from your
that
district
is
court
cool.
administrator. And one thing I want to ask is, what really motivates you to go above and beyond in such this way? What part of the work?
Um, you know, to be honest, when I first started in probation work, the 25 plus years ago, the focus really was on punitive approach, really focusing on how can I catch you doing something wrong, so I can throw you back into custody. And I hate to say that. I hate to even admit that's a kind of the pattern that I fell into. Um, Fortunately, after a few years of just being frustrated with really not seeing any progress with anybody I worked with, um, I made the conscious choice to uh, there's got to be a better way to criminal justice, and so really getting a better understanding of mental health needs and drug and alcohol needs really opened my eyes. And some of the cases that I just kind of changed my approach, uh, getting folks into inpatient treatment, and then actually seeing people change for the better. And so, having gone through that and experiencing that, I had an officer that I supervised years ago. She had a veteran that I actually found under underpass easily 20 years ago. So he's under underpass. A veteran had been on warrant for some time. I ended up arresting him because he had been on warrant, but he was placed on what was called the special needs unit. And so my officer, she worked with him, and he was in really bad shape, just really bad shape. And she worked with him, and I'll never forget this. When he 2 years later, his probation time was up. She called me into her office and said, "Hey, Dom, um, my defendant here is he's done with probation." And she said his name, And I think it's for a minute. eh, I couldn't believe it was the same person, the same individual that I arrested 2 years ago now looked like a soldier who was just enlisting
That's awesome.
in the military. It was so and right now it sends a chill down my spine. It was so transformative. Um that I said, "My gosh, this is how it should always be done. This is how it should have been done from the very beginning." She spent a lot of time with him, a lot of frustration with him, but the end result is this individual turned into who he was supposed to be. And so since then, it's really been I've been chasing that buzz, I guess, for lack of a better term, because I really got a buzz from that, from seeing that. Not even on my own caseload, just seeing what can be done when you work with individuals. So that's what motivates me because I get to see that every day. I get to hear the stories from the officers when they call me into their office and they say so and so is he's no longer on probation. She's no longer on probation. They finished their high school diploma. They've got this great new job. I get to hear that every day. So that is so motivating. That is so nice to hear and get the feedback from the clients that the officers work with, and they celebrate that. It's just you can't put a price on that. And really, and what else is there in life but to help others? Nobody really cares what kind of car you drive in the end, but how did you treat people? How did you make the world a little better place? And so I get to see that on a daily basis with my staff, with my team.
And I don't know, I just find that so amazing doing it for all the right reasons. And yeah, you really are right about helping people, and you're in a great position to do so. And this award, I think, just shows that people recognize the work you've been putting in. And so, how did it feel, receiving this Innovating Justice Award? Was it validation? Did it feel like gratefulness to other people? What was going through your head when this was finally recognized?
It caught me off guard, to be honest, and I might as well say it. When I was told, I I'm a crier. I'll just go ahead and admit that.
No issue with that.
I'm a crier. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad, and it was just it was it it's it was a realization of coming from a point in my life where I administered criminal justice in a manner that I'm ashamed of, to now I'm in a position where I truly get to assist individuals in moving forward, and I get to see that on a daily basis. So it's just that struck me, and that happens every now and then, and I'll think about that. And it struck me when the announcement was made, and it really was just that realization that, wow, what a journey this has been. But just to be here, it was really moving to receive that kind of recognition.
Yeah, I think that's what's so special about these awards is, there's so many court employees like you across the state working so hard just to help people, and to just show some of them that, like, hey, the work is recognized, people see it, and you are helping people, I think is so huge. And I know you alluded to earlier, it wasn't just you who did it. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out for the work you did?
Oh, for sure. So Sherry Jensen, Sherry and I have known each other for a number of years. I've known Sherry. She's the CEO of Vallejo, but I've known her many, many years ago. There's different projects that we have worked on together. She's always open to just how can I make the community better? How can we improve criminal justice? How can we help people get to where they want to be? So Sherry Jensen with Vallejo, uh, Amy Champion, she is the CFO of Pierce County Alliance. Again, brilliant, brilliant planner. She got the PCA on board with the behavioral health. James Pogue with Comprehensive Life Resources. He's the director of the homeless outreach there. Another long-term partner. I don't know how I could have even transitioned into the county without the help of James. And then Angela Whittier with Goodwill, the Goodwill Go, very passionate individual, wanted to help those younger populations, just very, very open to whatever I can do to assist folks that are just as involved, including going to court on behalf of individuals that we work with. There are others. There's my team, Andrew Gelston. He's the supervisor of our court resource center. So our court resource center with all the programs that we have, our resource center is the centralized location for individuals to get those services. And so Andrew heads that up. So, and then of course, all the judges allow me to run with crazy ideas, and they support those ideas. So I have to thank all the district court judges just for their support as well. Patrick, I'd like to thank my boss, Misty Robinson. She has been just the most supportive boss that you could ever want in trying to put programs together.
Yeah, it takes a whole village of people to sort of get this amount of help out, right? Well, Dom, I wanted to thank you so much for the work you're doing. I find it personally inspiring just to knowing that we have people like you in the system working for justice, really in the purest form. So I want to thank you for that, for coming on the show, and for all the work you've done, and for you well-deserved award you've received. Is there any message you'd like to leave off on?
We're gonna keep growing here. We're gonna keep improving. We're always looking to improve here in Pierce County District Court. That's the name of the game. We always know that we can do better. We always know that we can serve more people, and that's the goal.
Yep, and that's what it's all about. Well, thank you so much, Dom, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And that wraps up today's episode. Once again, a big shout out and thank you to Dom Hardeman for coming on the show and telling me about the Pathways to Progress program. You can listen to this episode along with past and future episodes under Washington Court's Report on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, where new episodes are posted monthly. New episodes will also be posted on the Washington Court's Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube pages. You can follow us there. Once again, thank you for listening to this episode of the Washington Court's Report podcast, and have a great day.